guys doing? Thank you for joining me on my channel. I'm not sure if you've seen my first video, but this second video is literally piggybacking off the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, I'll leave a link in the description, or I'll put the link somewhere in this video for you guys to click on it. It's very informative, so I will go back and watch it. So we're here today to discuss what trauma led to my congestive heart failure. I had not had congestive heart failure before this trauma. I was okay. I was overweight, of course. But I did not have congestive heart failure. A little high blood pressure, and 3 years ago I was dealing with Graves' disease, or hyperthyroidism, first diagnosed in 2017. I no longer suffer from that chronic illness anymore because I self-healed. I've not been on medicine from that particular illness. So, in saying all of that, I never thought that a form of trauma could start congestive heart failure. I've heard of people dying from congestive heart failure just of old age, or they did a lot of drugs or whatever. But you would never guess that due to a death, a passing of somebody special to me, that particular trauma caused my congestive heart failure. My father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2022. Now, you know what everybody says, pancreatic cancer is very much a death sentence. Like 3 months, 4 months tops. That's normally what you hear from pancreatic cancer. But at this time, my father told me, I literally just had started back talking to him. I had not talked to him for 3 or 4 years due to my own reasonings, holding a grudge, which I regret today, but I did. And I finally just started back talking to him, and this was the news that I found out. So, me being his oldest child, I jump into high gear. High gear, Daddy, you okay? What do you need me to do? I love you. I learned my lesson from what you were trying to explain to me previously. But he was just going to his chemo, and he was doing okay. He was doing fine, but he wasn't fine enough to where he could do things on his own. He was extremely tired all the time, and he was losing a lot of weight. So what I would do over the course of his time still here, I would come over with my children and help him clean his house. I would run any errands that he would ask me to run. Well, I would ask him, because he was the type of person like me, don't want to ask for help, or I got this. But he really didn't have that. It had him. So I went into high gear doing what I could for my father. I watched him suffer, but he was still here, and I was not suffering physically. I might have thought a lot about him mentally, but I was not suffering physically. I started back working, so with me starting back working, it was a distraction. I would see him after work or before work. I would go see him all the time. So this is where the tables kind of turned. My father went to Kentucky to have a surgery. Now, he could not have the Whipple surgery. Couldn't be performed because they said the tumor had grown onto one of his main arteries. But he heard from another pancreatic patient or cancer survivor that had pancreatic cancer about a technique that a Kentucky doctor was performing. and he was a good candidate for it. So he went through all the routine checkups and tests and whatever the Kentucky doctor informed him to do. He did. So he had surgery. With this surgery he could not eat. He was not supposed to eat. He was just supposed to be fed through a feeding tube. And he was supposed to stay in Kentucky for about 4 or 5 weeks. But my daddy didn't want that. He stayed there for 2 weeks. And he started eating like a day or two after surgery. He couldn't eat much, but he was eating. And when he ate, it made him sick. So when he returned to his state of residence, he continued to eat. And I would watch him eat, or I would listen to him say, I don't feel well. And I would say, well, Dad, well, why don't you go back to the Kentucky doctor? Now, mind you, had surgery in September. Now, this is October. Yes. When I would come over from work, I would literally just see my dad laying on his couch every single day, basically wasting away. Because he would try to eat, but he would either throw it up or he would immediately get sick. So he couldn't eat. So when he decided to go to the doctor in Kentucky, the Kentucky doctor said, you weren't supposed to eat yet, which he wasn't. He was supposed to be on a liquid diet. And basically said, I can't do nothing for you. Your cancer has spread. Because he was supposed to go to chemo also when he returned from Kentucky. He didn't do chemo, and he did not stop eating. So with all of that, they rushed him back to Kentucky, and that's what the doctor told him. So when he came back home, his stomach blew up to the size of a pregnant person, a 5-month pregnant person. At this time, my daddy was only about 140 pounds. And his stomach blew up to a pregnant woman's belly. They rushed him to the ER here in his state, or in my state now, because I live here now. And they told him that due to him eating, and if anybody knows about the Whipple surgery, or if you can look up things about the Whipple surgery, the surgery they try their best to get the cancer out, and they reconnect some things and get rid of some things, important things. And when they reconnected it, that's why he wasn't supposed to eat, so it could heal and start to work in the way that they situated everything. But he was eating, and it had nowhere to go. So that food created a roadblock, like concrete, like an obstruction within his belly, within his bowels, stomach, whatever you want to say. He could not digest food. And he was in so much pain. He couldn't digest food. And so it was just sitting there. That's why his stomach blew up. He ended up being admitted to the ER, getting a GI tube ran down his mouth to suck out all the fluid and anything else that needed to be digested that he couldn't. And they had showed us that his cancer had spread to his stomach, to his liver, a lot of places. And basically said, you have 2 weeks. Now, in this whole process, I'm there. I'm there with my father. When I get off work, I'm there. Before I go to work, I'm there. I'm off work, I'm there. So every day, now mind you, this trauma was bad to me because Well, let's not say because. I've been through a lot of trauma. Of course, it's the typical that you hear a lot of women say, I've been molested. I've been a victim of domestic violence for 6 years, or a survivor now. And I've also been a victim of gun violence. I was shot in my face in 2010 by someone trying to rob me. And this was the worst trauma I've ever gone through in my life. And it was the worst, I want to say, because I watched my father die. I went to the hospital every single day, and I watched him waste away. Now, when I say waste away, I mean no fluids, no food, not even a feeding tube, because it's not going anywhere. They're just sucking it right back out. So he can't even break it down to even get the nourishment out of it. No fluids. And he said, I'd rather just go. He told them, no more surgeries, no more nothing. Just let me go. I didn't want that, but I couldn't be selfish. But I watched him die. And I was raised by my father. I wasn't raised by my mother. I love my mother to pieces. But I was raised by my father. I was his oldest child. I'm the only one with my mother, so all his other children share moms. Like it's 2 or 3 children to one mom and dad. So they have the same mom and dad. I'm the only one with my mom, my dad. I'm the only one that's, I kind of been a loner all my life. So it's only 1 or 2 people that I ever would be around, which is my father and my grandmother. So with my father passing, I got his house. And it was bittersweet because it was his house. It wasn't my house. I didn't earn it. So every day I was in it, I just felt like these don't belong to me. And every night I would catch myself, I would get up every night, whether consciously or half sleep, and go lay on the couch where he would lay every day. I would go to work and almost be normal, but come home and I'm super depressed. I'm eating whatever. I'm not interested in cooking. I'm not interested in anything. I don't care. But I started getting sick. And that trauma caused my heart failure. Now, when I was in the hospital, after finding out I had heart failure, they ran tests to find out that my heart is beeping at 45%. It's pumping. The pump action on this left side is pumping 45%. According to what they told me, which I understand. My my ankles were swelling really bad, my feet and ankles. I'll put a picture for you guys to see. My ankles and feet were swelling so bad to where I could barely put my shoes on. Meaning shoes like they're too big. Like you'll buy Crocs, they may be a size too big, or some type of mesh stretchy shoes that I would wear to work so I could be comfortable. I was almost crying trying to put those on, squeezing into them because they hurt me so bad. I couldn't get them in. Um, I was also told that my heart could get better in 4 to 5 months, depending on me, depending on what I do. Right now, I'm on medicine that keeps the fluid away, but that medicine, when I did my research, damages your kidneys. So I'm about to do everything I can do to get off of it, like I did with hyperthyroidism. That medicine was making me lose my hair. So you would never guess that a death caused my heart failure. Basically, at that point in time, I was dying from broken heart syndrome. I thought people were playing every time they would say he died from a broken heart. Once her husband died, or once his wife died, they died from a broken heart. It's true. I have heart failure due to broken syndrome. Google it, or I'll share a post here. Google it. It's real. I never knew that because I wasn't going through it. That's why I invite you guys to follow my journey and watch what I do, just in case you guys are going through the same thing. Maybe you can help yourself. Figure out what you can do to better yourself. You were supposed to love you. You were supposed to take care of you. You can do it. I've done it. Not once, not twice, 3 times. I've lost weight so many times. I've had babies too, but I've had hyperthyroidism, domestic violence survivor, gunshot victim, child rape, molestation. I've been through all that, and I'm still here. Now I gotta fight my next battle with you guys. Hopefully you stay tuned when I post videos. Hopefully you subscribe and hit your notifications bell so you know when I'm posting videos, and you can follow along my journey so you can help somebody else or help yourself. You don't have to have heart failure to do some of the things that I'm going to do. These are just good health practices all together, and they're not hard. I don't ever do anything that's too complicated, because if it's too complicated, that means it'll overcomplicate my life, because I already got complicated things going on. So it's up to you. I thank you for watching.